Welcome to Monster Monday. Yeah, I mean, I usually have, quote unquote controversial picks when it comes to my Monster Mondays and Slasher Sundays. Like, is that a monster movie? Is that a slasher movie? Well, this time we've got Maximum Overdrive. And to me, the trucks are monsters. I mean, I don't know what else to call them. And this could be killer cars. But to me, a killer car is essentially a monster, especially the way that the truck with the Green Goblin face on it, that's straight up a fucking monster in this movie. So I'm counting it. You can disagree with me in the comments. You usually do. And that's fine. We can disagree with it. You're getting a fucking Maximum Overdrive review. Regardless. Or discussion. These aren't even really reviews. I don't know why I ever call these reviews. These are just straight up discussions. This is me pouring my brain out in front of y'all. Anyway, so as we all know, this was Stephen King's attempt at writing and directing a film because he didn't really like how his movies were being adapted much, especially after the Kubrick thing. So he was like, hey, I'm going to do this my damn self. And I remember the trailer to this being like something along the lines of like, this movie is going to completely horrify you. It's like Stephen King himself talking. Like, oh, no one's handled my material before. Like, no one knows it better than me. I'm going to scare the shit out of you, basically. This movie's terrible. This movie really is. You know what's funny? Is like, when I think about the movie, and this is why I really wanted to revisit it tonight. I was looking at my collection here, and I was trying to pick a Monster Monday, and I've really been wanting to cover a lot of Stephen King lately. I've actually considered a Stephen King Saturday, kind of thing, which I'm not going to do, but I might start knocking out more King adaptations because I really do enjoy talking about them and watching them. But I was looking at my collection, and anytime I think of this movie, because everyone trashes this film for the most part, there's fans, of course. And I could see somebody really enjoying this movie, and that's fine. But when I think about this movie, I typically come at it from a place of defense. It's always like, oh, come on, that's a fun film. It's got Emilio. It's got, this AC/DC soundtrack. It's like King during his cocaine days where he's just like, fuck it. You got this really kind of iconic looking truck. You've got a very silly story, but what I envision in my head when I think about this movie, fun. And watching it, actually sitting down and watching it, is quite the chore. I was really surprised by that because my memory of this film has always been oh, come on, man. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It is that bad. It is that bad. It's a serious movie. Yeah, it's got some playfulness to it. There's some self-awareness to it for sure. It's trying to be fun, but it's also trying to be scary. And that's laughable. There's not a single fucking thing in this movie that's scary. The idea behind it is scary in theory. Imagine all the cars and everything and all the electronics and everything coming to life all at once, and you can't trust anything around you. That's scary in theory. Translating it into a film is tough, and I'm not saying it can't be done. It could, sure. And they did remake this on TV in the 90s, and it was called Trucks, and it was even worse if my memory serves me correctly. Didn't it have Timothy Bottoms in it, or who the fuck was in that? God, it's been forever. I own it on VHS, but that shit's in storage. And after watching this, I have no desire to go and watch it. Okay, I have a little teeny desire to watch it just to compare it. But regardless, it can be done. I mean, there's killer car movies. Christine is phenomenal, but it has John Carpenter at the helm and not a coked out Stephen King, who thinks he can direct and he thinks he knows film. I think the biggest problem with this film is that Stephen King is directing it and that Stephen King is writing it. And Stephen King is great at writing books. He's just really not good at writing believable, deliverable dialogue from characters. That is something that is horrible in this movie. All the dialogue between characters, like there's supposed to be this romance between Emilio and this girl that comes to the station. It is horrible. It is completely unbelievable to me. I do not buy into it at all. It's just too easy. Really, more than anything, it's just too easy. There's nothing gained. She comes up and she's like, "Oh, you're cute," and he's like, "Yeah, you think so?" And she's like, "Well, you're not that cute," and he just kind of laughs, and that's it. I don't know. That doesn't work for me at all. Like, "Oh, you're attractive. Okay, well, I guess we should partner up and we'll go fuck in the gun room." And then they're all crazy about each other, and he's like, "Oh, let's run off together." I'm like, "Run off together? You guys have no chemistry. You guys have not even said anything to each other that's even remotely interesting." Young love, I guess. I don't know. But it's bad. And all the dialogue and all the stuff that's happening in here when Emilio's in the office with Commissioner Gordon, and he's like going back and forth, like, "You want me to clock in for work for 9 hours, but only report that I've worked for 8 hours?" And he's like, "Oh, you're fucking on parole." And then he goes and he looks, and there's a bunch of people on parole. But then even after the trucks start attacking, and it's clear as day that the world has turned upside down, that impossible things are happening outside, this guy's still trying to threaten people's jobs. And they're like, some of them kind of look nervous. And it's like, dude, no way. No fucking way. That dude wouldn't be thinking that, and no one would be caring. Like, so even to write it in there, I guess it's supposed to show us that character and how much he just does not give a shit, and all he cares about is himself and his business, and come hell or high water, he's gonna run his business the way he wants. But then him just having like this full blown arsenal where he just comes out with a fucking rocket launcher out of nowhere. If you don't laugh when he comes out with a literal fucking rocket launcher, I don't know, man. Are you alive? Like, how could you not laugh at that? That is so silly. Who has fucking rocket launchers on the premises? And then he's got this full arsenal. It's like the one that they go and find in Terminator 2. When they pull up, they go out to Mexico and they pull up the big grate, and underneath there's all these weapons. I don't remember if that's in the director's cut or not. But if you don't remember that scene, it's in the director's cut then. I think it's in the theatrical version, because that's where he gets his little, minigun. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, but that scene is so stupid. It's so funny. And then he goes down and it's like, oh, well, he has this stuff. I guess it's convenient enough. It's kind of like in Demon Knight, when they go up into the attic and Wally has a full arsenal, and then they find out there's no bullets in it. He has a fucking vest made of grenades and everything. It's convenient, but whatever. I'll look past it. It's just really, the guy has rocket launchers in there, and he seems to have multiple ones. Why weren't they trying to blow up every truck in the fucking, until they were out of rockets? Why don't they just keep shooting every truck around? And then once you shot every truck, get the fuck out of there. I don't know. It just, there's so many moments in this movie you're just like, huh, what? Why would they do that? Why is this happening? Why are certain things that are not electronic working? That's a huge question I have. So this comet tail comes over the Earth. This is a total drug written plot here. There's this comet tail, and it covers the Earth and this green stuff, and then all the cars and stuff come alive, and then at the end it's actually a UFO, and it's a Russian satellite. It's actually weather balloon quotations, and we're just gonna have laser cannons on top of sharks' heads. I mean, fucking might as well have went for that. The ending, when they say that there's a Russian fucking weather station, weather balloon or whatever, and they put it in quotation, and then they're it had laser cannons on it and nuclear capabilities, nuclear warheads or something, and they blew up a UFO. It's So was it the cosmic radiation, the cosmic tail, or was it the UFO, or was it a combination of the two? And they blew it up 2 days later, and then they say the cosmic tail passes multiple days later. So like, what's happening there? And the aliens know Morse code? Like they come down and then they like because they're controlling the trucks, no? Or the radiation is, or whatever that is, whatever it's. I know it's like supposed to be. One's like made of dust, and the other one's there's two different kinds of comet tails. Yeah, my memory's a little foggy on this stuff. Whatever. It's like a mixture of like gas and like carbon particles. Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So like, what's doing this? Is it aliens? Because Emilio starts talking about aliens and how they want to take over the planet and this and that. And then at the end, it straight up says that there's a UFO out there that's blown up, which we of course never see, and there's never any grand plan. What's the plan here? They're gonna kill everybody, and then like all of them go to gas stations to gas up because they need to be out on the road, like killing people to like get the planet ready for them to come in and take over. Like, what's the plan? And how are non-electronic things working? That's what I'm curious about. The machine gun car. How's the machine gun firing on its own and aiming? If it has that capability, if it can move inanimate objects like that, then why isn't it using other things? Why doesn't it use the guns that are down in the gun room if it can use guns? Like, why not just like pull the pin out of one of those grenades and blow up their entire arsenal they have? Like, the gun thing makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know, like maybe the electronics, I could buy that in a way. Like, oh, there's this, we'll call it cosmic radiation, and the aliens have kind of tapped into that, and that's went in and leached into our electronics, and now our electronics are able to be manipulated by them through the cosmic energy, radiation, whatever, and then they start controlling, nuclear codes, and they can launch missiles if they want. They can start taking over fighter jets and all this kind of stuff. This, I mean, would it make sense? No, not really, but it would be enough for me. But just like machines, like trucks, like how does that work? There's nothing there's no components in there that you could really control and manipulate like that. So, okay, I'm way overthinking, don't get me wrong. I don't care. You just make it's a killer car, whatever. I don't care. Fine. Christine's a killer car. It's possessed by a ghost. Fine. But it's just, you got to stick to your rules that you set up, man. Is it electronics? Is it cars? Is it both? Is it, And then things have to be able to operate the way that they would. So a soda machine doesn't shoot sodas out of itself at 100 miles per hour. It doesn't have that capability. A truck can plow you over. Okay, I'll buy that. But a soda machine shooting cans out at like fucking bullets from a gun? Like, it's a funny scene, don't get me wrong. The guy gets hit in the head, and that's not a scene I dislike. It's actually one of my favorite scenes. And then that kid gets steamrolled. Fucking a child, and we see his head go under the steamroller, which is pretty great. So I like that. Who else used to lay down when you were a kid and like people would like steamroll you? Like, as like, a lot of times you would do it as like a joke. Like, you'd run up and someone would be laying down, you'd roll over and be like, steamroller. Anybody ever steamroll people? That was great. Anyway, but yeah, I don't feel like the rules are ever stuck to in this movie. And here's the thing, I wouldn't care. I would just be like, oh, why does this work? Who cares? It's fun. But it's not fun. It's not scary. The characters don't work. Like, yeah, you got Emilio. You got Pat Healy. You've got freaking Yeardley Smith, who's the voice for Lisa Simpson. And listening to her scream and complain for like 10, 15 minutes of this movie is nails on a chalkboard. It's fucking brutal, dude. It's brutal. Man, And then you got the Bible salesman who carries around his Bibles in a Bible shaped briefcase. I thought that was pretty funny. But I don't really understand how he dies. Like, why is he dead? Like, he gets hit and then he's like thrown down into that little like ditch. But why is he dead? Like, they come down and the kid's still alive, but like, he's so fucked up he can't move. He can't. Like, why does he end up dying? Like, I don't understand that at all. And then if they have that ability to go out and go through the tunnels like that, like, why not stay in the tunnels? Why would, like, if you had access to sewer drains like that, so close to it, why didn't you all go in there? No cars can come in there. Nothing can come in there. And then they go over to that, like, fast food joint, and the fast food joint's talking to them. Humans around. Like, humans are here. Humans are here. So they know English. Okay, fine. They know Morse code because the honking tells them, and it just so happened one of the people there knows Morse code, and it happens to be the child. Which is fine. Those are, as I said, these are all things that I'd be willing to look past as the film was more entertaining. It's almost so bad it's good. It's almost so bad it's good. It's just not quite there. It's just so bad. There are things I do like. I like the thought of this movie. I like that it's Stephen King's coked out fucking movie. I like that it's AC/DC. I like that it's Emilio. I like that it's the killer trucks. I like the premise, and I like the memory of the film if I condense it in my head. But actually sitting through the 90 minutes of this movie, there's so much of it that's not interesting and isn't really entertaining to me. That it is kind of tough to sit through, which is really, I don't know. Anyway, we got Barney in here from the Hannibal Lecter franchise. He's not in it a ton, but I like seeing him. You've got references to, someone says Hell's Bells in this. Of course, a reference to the AC/DC song that plays towards the end of the movie. You've got someone mentioning Haven Island, which was kind of cool since Stephen King had the Colorado Kid book that was turned into the TV series Haven, which went like 5 seasons, and I watched 4 of those seasons. So it's cool to hear Haven brought up in here. Not really sure what the Bible salesman was doing when Emilio was trying to pull him in, and he decided to just he pushed Emilio away and like started to try to run down a road. What? Huh? Why? What? I don't. Okay. He's selling Bibles. I guess there was Bible salesmen back in this time. Like, people sold Bibles. Now they give them away. The cameo by King at the beginning. Honey, this machine just called me an asshole. I love that, man. The way he looks at the screen right before it cuts to the music and the title card. I love it. That's fun. If the whole movie was like that, I'd be all about it. And then the woman who like runs out and is like, "We made you." Okay. This scene makes no sense at all. So, Pat Healy's character fires off the rocket launcher. These things hold 1 rocket. She runs over screaming at these trucks, "I'm going to get him." Emilio holds back the guy who could have stopped her from going out there and getting herself killed. So why he held her back, why he held him back, I don't understand. Emilio was like half that guy's size. If this is his like girlfriend or someone he cares about or whatever, he would have picked Emilio up and thrown him through the fucking roof. Like, he would never have stopped in a million years, and I don't understand any reason why he would have stopped him. And then she runs out there with an empty rocket launcher that she doesn't even point at the thing that she's going out there to try to scream at, and then the thing shoots her, and she falls back and shoots off the rocket launcher into a truck, even though that rocket launcher is 100% empty. Like, how many fucking drugs was King on when he did this? That's what I want to know. Are we to believe she, like, grabbed a rocket and loaded it into that thing? Maybe she grabbed a different one. She didn't, though. She grabbed it off his dead body. There's only one. They didn't have 2 of them. I'm, like, trying to help, but there's nothing. It's all... It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Okay, and another scene that's fucking dumb as hell is the gas scene where they're giving them gas and they're like taking turns pumping the gas into the trucks. And then Amelia, like the girl's kind of taken away and she's like dazed. And then Emilio's character comes back in and he's like dying. He's like, oh my god. He's like back. And then she like checks his hand and his hands are all blistered from pumping gas, from taking a fucking cap off and putting a thing in there and pressing the thing in. You're getting blisters and you're so exhausted you can barely stand up. Get the fuck out of here. There's no way. There's no way. There's no fucking way. These things didn't have clips on them back then. I'm sure they probably didn't. Okay? But you're not getting blisters and you're not like falling over from exhaustion from pumping gas. It's just not happening. So I'm supposed to believe like, oh, these poor people, they're out there pumping gas. What the fuck? And all these trucks would be diesel anyway, right? So they wouldn't even be able to take the unleaded. Some of them would. I guess some of those trucks would. So they'd have to like do back and forth. It doesn't matter. I just blisters and worn out, and they like taking breaks. Like, oh my god, take it over. Really? This gas station wasn't even that big. It didn't even have that many pumps. I don't feel like they could have filled up that many trucks. I feel like if they just kept pumping gas into those trucks, that it'd be gone pretty quick. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. How many trucks could a station like that fill up before it was empty, and how long would it take? With like multiple people taking turns. Would people have blisters? Would they be blacking out? Stupid. I disagree. I do not believe it. But nothing in this movie makes any damn sense. They get on a sailboat and they seem to think that that's like their savior, but it's like you saw that a machine gun car, whatever the hell they call these, can shoot on its own. So who knows what fucking this little sailboat's gonna do? But they have to risk something, and they get on the boat, and that's it. And they just blow up the Green Goblin truck. Like he's just kind of coming at them, and the guy who's trying to steal the ring ends up getting hit. And I don't really feel like it'd be that hard to run away from a truck like that, like a big like 18-wheeler, like a big rig, with like a trailer on the end of it. Dude, just it can't corner, it can't turn very well. Like all you have to do is just like run this way, and then when it gets close you just kind of run this way, and then it would take so long for the thing to turn around that you could hide or get away in time, and even if it came back you could get out of the way really easily. I just don't see a big rig being all that intimidating. Cars in general, I just don't see them being that terrifying. Whenever I watch a car chase in a movie where I'm like supposed to be scared, I'm always like, just turn. Just like go that way, and the car can't fucking follow you. Like it doesn't make any, like they're in like alleyways and they're like running, and there's like multiple areas where they could just like jump up and the car couldn't do anything to them. And it's just, so the car is a hard sell for me as a weapon. It has to be like, the car has to basically surprise you. And if you want to kill somebody with a car, you don't want to get some big fast muscle car, this and that. You want to get yourself a Tesla. You want to get yourself a Prius. You can't hear those things coming at all. Not at fucking all. How many times are you in a parking lot and a Tesla or a Prius like sneaks up on you, and you turn around, there's just a car there, and you're like, what the fuck? That's an assassin car right there. Not some fucking like, V8 Camaro that goes 1,000 miles per hour and is loud as fuck. Dude, no, you're never gonna hit anybody in that car. They're gonna hear you coming from a mile away. Anyway, but yeah, now we got Teslas, we got electric cars. This could be remade, and all the electric cars could come for you. We could be in a future where all cars are all electric. I want to see a Maximum Overdrive 2 in the future with all like electronic cars and stuff, and all of our technology is, it comes back. The UFO comes back. That could be fun, man. The whole world, especially like, modernized. Yeah, you could make that fun. But man, this is a rough watch. And their sex is so out of place. Like, really, they're gonna be having sex in this moment? I mean, I would, but I don't know. You got a wall of porn in here. You got, yeah, I don't got much else. But, yeah. His dialogue in this movie is written like a novel. It reads like a novel. The characters read like novel characters. And novel dialogue does not translate to film. That's why you don't do, like, direct film adaptations from novels. Because what you read on the written page does not translate super well all the time into film. Just doesn't flow correctly. So, but it's Stephen King. What do you expect? Anyways, all right. I'm done. Adios.